Hello, welcome to Humanities 201 Western Culture. I'm Dr. Hodges. And the first thing I want to do is explain to you why this course is completely online. And the short answer is COVID. I have a medical condition called psoriatic arthritis that's caused by my immune system attacking my joints. I have fingers that don't bend because of that. And the meds that I have to take for that work by suppressing my immune system. Result is I'm then more susceptible than most people to infectious diseases going around like COVID. And although I am getting old, I'm not quite ready to check out just yet. And so I'm protecting myself. And we need to go over the syllabus. First off, I will not be having regular conference hours like in a normal situation because I'm working from home. You're actually sitting in my living room at the moment. If you need to get hold of me, send me a message in Canvas or email me, hodgesdh@graham.edu. I generally check my mail every morning, Monday through Friday, and we'll get back to you as quickly as I can after I see your email. If you do need to meet, we'll have a couple of options. We can set up like a Zoom meeting, or I will come in and meet with you in my office. If we do it that way, I'm going to ask that you wear a mask and I'll wear a mask to protect you. You wear a mask to protect me. I think, though, most things can be handled through Canvas messages or email. Okay. Now, we do need to go over a little bit of the syllabus. And first thing, what's the course about? You can read the description, objective, learning outcomes on the Start Here page or on your syllabus. That's the educational gobbledygook version. Here's kind of the real deal. This course covers the cultures that have contributed most to the making of the West, beginning with the Hebrew Bible, what Christians call the Old Testament. I use the phrase Hebrew Bible because it's only the Old Testament if you have a newer one. For Jewish people, the Hebrew Bible is the Bible. We'll go then through the Greeks and the Romans, the development of Christianity, the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, Islamic culture, and the Renaissance. We end up with the Renaissance simply because we run out of semester. Now, what are we going to study about these cultures? Well, a little bit about the history. There will be a few dates I'm going to ask you to remember. But we're mostly going to focus on religion, philosophy, literature, and visual arts. And always, my focus is, what do these things tell us about how these people understood themselves and the world around them? You may think that everybody has always thought about things pretty much the same way that you have. Nothing could be further from the truth. And I like to illustrate that with reference to another course I teach, Humanities 202 Non-Western Culture, which we used to team teach. I taught a unit on course covers Asia, and I taught a unit on the religions and philosophies of Asia because that's my background. Okay. My college degree major was a combined major, philosophy and religion combined with English literature, which actually wound up being a pretty good preparation for what I've wound up doing for the past 29 years, teaching courses like this one. In non-Western culture, we study Asia. And after I did the unit on philosophy and religion, my colleague, Dr. Jim Kim, did a unit on history and literature because that's his thing. And then we had a man from mainland China, People's Republic, Mr. Yu, who was a grad student at Tech, and he taught in our non-Western culture class. And I look forward when he was teaching because he would spend a day on Chinese food, which is not what you get at Peking House. That's Americanized Chinese. When he talked about Chinese food, he put up the ingredients on the old-fashioned overhead projector that we used back then. I've been at Grambling since 1991. And this is going to be my last year before I retire. But he put up the ingredients for a dish called Keilin Taote. And I like to watch the students' responses when they saw that the main ingredient to Keilin Taote is a small dog. Well, how do you react to the idea of eating dog? Usually someone in the class would react with absolute horror. Why? Well, because in our society we don't eat dogs and cats. We keep them as pets. But think about the role that a pet plays in a family. And the clue is, how do people talk to their pets or about their pets? Oh, it's a good girl. And when I take our dog to the vet, they refer to me as her daddy. And my wife and I refer to ourselves as her mama and daddy. Pets function as substitute children. They're basically four-legged toddlers. In fact, some people call them fur babies. Okay. Well, every society has a taboo against eating one's children, for obvious reasons. A society that did that wouldn't last very long. Well, because pets function as children, we subconsciously extend that taboo to include not eating the animals that we typically keep as pets, and that's overwhelmingly dogs and cats. Okay, 90-something% of all pets are dogs or cats. Well, in parts of East Asia, dogs and cats are raised for food, the same way that we raised chickens or cows. My late father-in-law used to raise cattle, and he had no trouble reaching in the freezer, pulling out a package of steaks, and telling you what cow they came from and her whole life history. And I had no trouble listening to that and eating them. In fact, I like to say that when my wife and I were dating, her dad's steaks and her mom's biscuits were the secret weapons that she used to reel me in. Ladies, what you've heard about the way to a man's heart, it's true. In India, by contrast, the cow is a sacred animal. And so people in India would react with the same kind of horror that some of you may have had to the idea of eating dog. They would react with that same horror and disgust to the idea of eating beef. Now, my point is this. It's all a matter of what community you grow up in. We are all products of the communities in which we are raised. Those communities go a long way towards shaping our beliefs, our attitudes, our values, the way that we look at the world. And that's what we're going to study in this course. You're going to be exposed to different perspectives on the world, and also ideas that are still with us in the modern West. But And the purpose of that is really to kind of stretch your mind, to expose you to different perspectives. See, there's no way that any of us is going to spend our whole life dealing only with people whose background is the same as ours. And whatever you wind up doing career-wise, it will be to your advantage if you have the ability, and this is what we're going to try to cultivate in this course, to look at the world through somebody else's eyes, to kind of see where they're coming from. I think that will help you understand them better and why they say what they do, act the way they do, think the way they do. I also think, by the way, it will make you a better person. Because people who can see things from other perspectives wind up not being like Donald Trump. It will make you a broader person, and I think it will give you an advantage no matter what you do. I also, frankly, think there is value in understanding how we got to the place that we are now. No matter how we may feel about where we are now. And for the record, I think that there are some good things about Western culture, and I think there's some problematic things, okay? And Western culture is, by definition, the cultural tradition based on Europe, but which you now find in North America and in places like Australia as well. Now that's the kind of the real world view of the objective and outcomes. This is not a course that's what I call a VOTEC course, designed to teach you how to do something you're going to do in your career. That's become very popular in higher education to think of it as basically VOTEC. Workforce training. I think there's a place, and needs to be a place, for learning to think critically, to evaluate, to ask questions, to think independently. And that's what this course is designed to do. Now, when it comes to kind of the nuts and bolts of the course, first thing up is the textbook. I have good news and bad news. The good news is that your textbook for this course is a custom anthology that I put together for this course, and I give it to you on Canvas for free as a series of PDFs. So you do not have a textbook to purchase. You're welcome. Now, the bad news: if the book is free, you cannot complain that you can't afford to buy the book. If you don't read the book, there is one and only one explanation for that, and that is that you were too damn lazy to read the book. And if that's the case, then you're going to get the grade that deserves. Okay. Internet courses put a premium on students reading. Simply put, if you don't like reading, this is not the course for you. Okay. And when I grade your submissions to all the discussions, which are what takes the place of our class sessions, first thing I'm going to be looking for is evidence of your reading the assignment. If I don't see evidence that you've read the assignment, 0 points. If I find your response is plagiarized from someplace on the internet, that you read a paragraph To replace 20 pages, 0 points. Okay. I've got a separate video on navigating the web page on Canvas that I'll put together later, but before classes actually start. So it's later as I'm making this video, but it will be you'll come to it earlier in the course than this one even. The way the course is structured is it's broken into a series of modules. Module 1 is the excerpts from the Hebrew Bible, what Christians call the Old Testament. Module 2 is Archaic Greece, basically Homer's Iliad. We'll be reading excerpts from that. Module 3 is Hellenic Literature, a series of ancient Greek writings, and also a PDF on Hellenic art. Module 4 is Hellenic philosophy, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, etc. Each module will have several lessons within it, and the way the course is designed is you basically start at the top and work your way down. You start with Module 1, Lesson 1.1, Lesson 1.2, 1.3, etc. When you finish with Module 1, you move on to Module 2, Lesson 2.1, Lesson 2.2, etc. All the way through until we get to the end, which for candidates for graduation, your final exam is November 9th and 10th. I am not putting a specific day and time on that because you're going to be doing it on the internet. Like everything else you'll be doing on this course is on the internet. For those of you who are not graduating, your final exams are November 16th to 24th. If you're a candidate for graduation, I need all of your work in by 9 a.m. on Friday of the week of November 9th. I guess that would be 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. For everybody else, the deadline for everything is 12 noon on November 25th. Now, don't wait till the last minute. In fact, the early assignments will have earlier deadlines than that. There's a due date, and then there's the date after which the assignment is no longer available. It's important that you start working on this course right away and move on pace. It's not possible to do all the work of a semester in the last 2 weeks. If it were, the semester would only need to last 2 weeks. Okay, and I'm going to be a stickler once assignments. Once the assignment deadline is passed, it's passed, and I won't take that assignment. Now, the deadlines will be, I think, realistic. The first ones, for example, will be up through August and up until almost the end of September. Now, obviously, as we go through the semester, those deadlines are going to get shorter and shorter, because at the end of the semester, I have to turn in grades. But it's important that you keep up. The course is normally taught on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday basis, and so I did it with the basic schedule of 3 lessons per week, except the week of Labor Day. And that ends up with November 6th, which is the last day of classes on the university calendar. So 3 lessons per week with the exception of Labor Day weekend, Labor Day holiday. I only gave you 2 lessons that week, and also the taking the midterm exam takes the place of one of the lessons that week. So, there you go. And the framework with a traditional face-to-face class to college level is that you're expected to spend about 2 or 3 hours out working on the course outside of class for every hour that you spend in class. So basically, I use the framework 9 to 12 hours per week spent on the course. You're going to be reading the textbook and other materials that I'll provide you. There will also be some videos that are intended to help you understand the reading. Some will be like this that I'll make where I'm talking to you about the readings. Some are videos where other people will be explaining things relating to the readings, or even in some cases you may see, for example, there are a couple of video clips where you will see examples of the Sufis, who are the Muslim mystics. Each lesson has a discussion where you need to post a response to specific questions that I will ask you. You'll be doing both reading quizzes and your exams online. You need to have, of course, high-speed internet for the videos like this. You need to be able to read PDF documents, and this is maybe a little bit more challenging, to read and edit Microsoft Word documents. The very first lesson, I know, is going to have you do that because we're going to look at the creation stories. There are 2 of them in the book of Genesis, and the discussion is going to be you identifying differences between those 2 creation stories in the book of Genesis. And I don't have the capability of from home of putting that in a PDF that you could write on, so it's going to have to be a Microsoft Word document that you'll be working with. And I say that because I'm the last dinosaur. I don't have a cell phone, so I don't know what your cell phones can and can't do. I'm pretty sure they can read PDFs. Watching videos on your cell phone, if you have limited data, is going to eat up your data plan. So you might want to have a computer of some sort accessible to do some of that. Also, cell phones don't always play nice with Canvas when it comes to quizzes. I've had several students tell me that they had done quizzes on their cell phone, but the answers did not get recorded into Canvas. Okay, if that happens, I can't fix that. Because if it didn't go through, that means it's not in Canvas for me to look at. And by the way, your quizzes are scored automatically on Canvas. So if you're going to try to do a quiz on a cell phone, after you do it, be sure and check your grades to make sure that score went through. Because if it doesn't go through, I'm not responsible for that. Okay? It's up to you to see that your quiz answers get graded on Canvas. And like I said, cell phones don't always play nice with Canvas. When we get to the end of the semester and it's time for me to enter your final grade, the way I measure how much of the material you've learned is 2 objective exams, a midterm and a final, several reading quizzes, and the online discussions. The midterm exam is 150 points, the final exam 200 points. The reading tests total 262 points. Yeah, I know that's an odd number. It's just based on the number of good questions that I was able to come up with about the readings. And the online discussions will total 288 points when we get to the end of the semester. And so that's a total of 800 points possible. At the end of the semester, a point is a point is a point no matter where you got it. I add up your total points. If you have at least 90%, 720 points or more, you make an A. If you don't maybe do that well, but you earn at least 640 points, 80%, that's a B. 560 points is the cutoff at the bottom of the C range. If you're in the 60% range, at least 480 points, you make a D. And if you finish below there, you receive an invitation to take the course over again. Now, I don't know why anybody would want to pay money and spend time to take a course twice. I never felt like I had either time or money to spend that way. But if you choose to do so, I will not stop you. Read the assignments. My parents helped pay my way through college, and I don't know what my dad would have done if I'd brought D's and F's home. I didn't want to find out. My dad was a drill sergeant in the Army during World War II. I'm pretty sure it would hurt. The remainder of the syllabus talks about keeping up with the work. If at the very end of the semester something happens, and occasionally it does, where you're not able to finish the course, but you've got most of the work done, send me an email or a message in Canvas. Okay? If you are passing the course and there's only a little bit of work left undone, I have the option to give you an incomplete grade and let you finish it next semester. If I don't hear from you, I'll just assume that you didn't bother to do the final and calculate your grade with a 0 on it. Zeros kill grades. Okay. I don't deal with excuses, particularly since you have a time range for every assignment online. There's not, okay, you have to do it at exactly this time. So I don't deal with excuses. I can't grade an excuse. You have to submit the assignment. On the reading quizzes, you have at least 5 attempts. The midterm and the final, you have only 1 attempt. Make note of the university's policy on plagiarism. Basically, the only place you could plagiarize in this course would be the the discussions, and if a discussion submission is plagiarized, that's a grade of 0. And I'm not going to give a redo on that. If you qualify for disability services, the syllabus tells you where to check about that. I would point out the section how to read your textbook and make an A in Western culture. These are actually basic study skills that are helpful, I think, in any course, though it is specifically worded about this one. The fact of the matter is that we cannot give you an education. You have to obtain an education. Now, we try to help you do that. I'm trying to guide you in this course. But I can't just spoon feed you information. That's not an education. Whoever does the work gets the learning. I already know this material. I spent my adult life studying it. And I'm trying to guide you to help you learn it, but you have to learn it yourself. We have to eat our own food. What somebody else eats doesn't do us any good. We have to learn our own knowledge. You have to make your own love. Some things we just have to do for ourselves. Okay. Take a look at the video on navigating the Canvas page if you haven't already done so. And this video, of course, is going to be part of Lesson 1.1, which, if you haven't read the syllabus, you need to read over it because that's what the lesson is about. Good luck, and I'll be checking in with you via video throughout the semester.